What's up, my friends, old and new? Today we're going to install and do a quick review on the Memphis Shades Road Warrior fairing that we installed on my wife's 2019 Indian Scout bobber. Now, she's grown tired of the wind resistance at higher speeds because it makes her neck hurt, especially on longer rides. And of course, getting pelted by sand and debris is not a lot of fun either. So when you go shopping on the Memphis Shades website, you just select the make and model of your bike and which style fairing you like. And then this one happens to be the Road Warrior. Make sure you select the whole kit with mounting plates, a headlight relocation kit, and you're also going to need a turn signal relocation kit as well. Then choose your windshield, which comes in 3 different choices: a short cafe style, standard, or a vented shield. Now, we went with the standard shield, 13-inch height, and so far it seems to be a good size, but we'll talk a little more about that later. Let's get to the install. Now, I'm an old fart, so I like to set up a table as a work surface. It helps me keep everything at a comfortable working level and helps keep my tools and hardware manageable. Of course, I always cover the bike to prevent any damage. So I unwrapped everything, and the documentation was a little scant, but the brackets and turn signal relocation kits did have some instructions, so it didn't look too difficult.
It's getting hot.
Now, I started by removing the cowling, or nacelle as some of the fancy people would say. Using a 6mm hex head, I got the 3 bolts out easily on each side of the cowling. Now next I tried to install the front turn signal relocation kit, but I ran into a bit of a problem there.
Okay, so this is a bummer.
Alright, so this is going to be a little bit different for us because I have these Joker Machine turn signal and running light kits, and this shows the OEM. Alright, so after a couple of minutes of trying to mess with the fairing and figure out exactly where everything is supposed to go with the relocation kit for the turn signals, I've kind of decided I'm just going to put the fairing on and then see where it sits, see how everything aligns, and then I'm going to have to fabricate something or work something out for the turn signals. And I may even wind up having to take it all back off and put it together, but that's what happens sometimes when you do custom stuff, right? So let's go ahead and do that. Next up, the headlight needs to come out because you've got to put that headlight relocation bracket on there. And for me, that was even tougher.
That thing is f***ing on there. Holy shit. Alright. Let's see if we can fucking do this here. Holy smokes. Well, let's see if the old cordless impact wrench will do it. Alright, let's try this. Woohoo!
At this point, it made sense to me to install the fairing brackets onto the forks and try and line up the fairing before the headlight went back on. Seems like it might have been more difficult to make fitment adjustments if the headlight was already installed. Now, the fork-mounted cylinder brackets, I guess I'll call these things, have this little adjustable design that kind of snaps together when you put it on the fork and then uses a single screw to tighten it up securely. It was simple enough to mind the forward direction requirements and just snug them up a bit so we could adjust them later as needed for fitment. Now the bracket mounts permanently to the fairing with 4 screws, and it was a little awkward with only 2 hands, but a little effort and using my lap actually helped. Be sure not to go too crazy and over tighten or you might crack the plastic.
Again, just doing it lightly. You don't want to over tighten these. Alright, now let's go check our fitment over here.
Now these brackets give you this quick disconnect feature with this little sliding tab, but after removing the cowling, it's pretty clear you're not going to be taking this thing on and off based on the type of riding you're doing on a given day. It's just a convenience feature to make the adjustment phase go a little smoother. I can't imagine bolting this thing on and off every time to make a simple adjustment. Good design, guys. Smart.
Alright, now I'm going to tighten these brackets down here and here on both sides because I've got the fit that I want. Everything looks pretty centered up. I can't raise this bracket anymore because it's going to have to clear this piece that comes up and down. If I go any higher with that clamp on the fork, then I won't be able to get that piece on. So hopefully this will help. This will allow the headlight to align. We're going to have to adjust all that later though. So when I pulled this out of the paper, I was like, holy crap, that's not going to be wide enough. But then I realized that I have these 2 spacers in here. So we're just going to take that bolt. Alright, you kind of do want this tight, but not all the way because we still have to adjust it.
So now that I have the fairing mount brackets on the forks adjusted right and the headlight prepped, I removed the fairing so I could install the headlight and see how the light was going to line up inside the fairing and make sure I could get it close to level with the proper headlight pattern. Now if I were smart, I would have checked and measured the headlight pattern and alignment on my garage door or something like that to get a reference, but I didn't. So now I'm just kind of winging it here and praying for a miracle. I reinstalled the fairing and pushed the headlight through the fairing, and to be honest, it lined up darn near perfectly right off the bat. Seeing everything was going to work out, I pulled the fairing off once again and figured now would be a good time to clean up some of the wiring and cabling and button things up a little cleaner.
Just hold on to the headlight.
Now I tightened up the headlight bolt here, got it nice and snug, reset the fairing in place, and we're pretty much done except for the turn signals. Now I don't recommend you mount your turn signals below the triple tree like I did here. I'm honestly not worried about this causing a problem because it's certainly not SOP, but then again, I don't have stock turn signals, and so these low profile mounts make it a little bit safer in my mind, and I don't really have a better solution at the moment, so that's what I gotta do.
Stand it up. Left and right. Let's get the fairing.
Rain like hell at 5.
I'm really happy with the way the headlights snuggled up into the fairing, and to be honest, it looks way better in person than I ever imagined it would. We ran a quick test up the street just to make sure it was secure and safe for operating. I also wanted to make sure the headlight was firmly in place and not, moving around inside the fairing. And of course, I wanted to make sure the turn signals were visible and also functioning properly. Now this install only took me about 2 hours, and that includes all the work that goes into making this video, like moving cameras around and moving lights, etc. It's a pain in the neck, I gotta tell you. But after a second test run, Barbara is very pleased with the outcome and highly recommends adding this to your bike if you want to break from all the elements. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, share, and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and check out all of our moto travel related videos too. Oh, and don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Be good, kids. See you soon.
So what'd you think?
Okay, so my feedback. It is easier to ride on the highway.
Yep.
It doesn't deflect a lot of the wind on my face, but I don't feel as much pressure on my head.
Okay.
Like whipping my head back.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking. Yeah.
I'm not feeling that.
Okay. So when the wind comes up, it's not pushing your helmet back as far as it used to?
No.
Okay. Do you
No.
think we should go a little taller? Because this is a 13 inch, and then there's a 15 inch, which would be this tall. Do you think that would be better?
I might like that.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I think that's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and order a 15 inch.
Definitely there's less pressure on the wind whipping my neck back. Yeah.
Do you think you could do a longer ride just with this? A longer ride,
A
not
longer,
like
I don't think I could do 8 hours.
Yeah.
But I probably could do longer than what we were used to doing.
All right,
like I said,
cool.
no rock is like a game changer.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I like it.
Okay,
I
cool.
think a little bit taller
A little taller would be better.
would be better.
Right.
Recording.
Well, there you have it, folks. So we are going to order that taller windshield, and we'll report to you back in the next video. Thanks again for watching, guys. See you in the next one. Two Indians. I'm out.